Hello, my friends. My name is Gerdes, and here are the three big stories for today. So, what was the first thing that the new Russian defense minister said as he addresses an audience of his peers? Well, it's really interesting. Listen to this. The key task, of course, remains achieving victory and ensuring that the military political goals of the special military operation set by the president are achieved. Period. Okay, I expected him to say that. In this respect, I want to especially emphasize with minimal human losses. That's the first time that I think I've heard that anywhere from the Russian government throughout the entire war. Belousov told a session of the Russian lawmakers on Tuesday. I want to emphasize optimization does not mean sweeping reductions. Optimization, first of all, means increasing efficiency. That's what optimization is by definition, so that every ruble of budget money that our citizens ultimately pay brings maximum effect. And I think that's really what his sweet spot will be. This is how he will sing his high notes. Okay, this applies to food, production, the supply of new military equipment and weapons, and staffing, Belousov said, which cemented outside speculation that his appointment came as Putin grew dissatisfied with the corruption and ineffectiveness under former Defense Minister Shoigu's command. Belousov also talked of supplying all Russian troops in Ukraine with modern equipment, including artillery ammunition, missiles, personal protection, special communications, drones, and electronic warfare equipment. This is really, if you're on the Russian side of this equation, quite a breath of fresh air compared to just, we'll just send you off to the slaughter. Belousov's success in leading Russia's national drone development project since early 2023 has likely earned him some favors with Putin as Russian drones have continued to plague Ukrainian troops. Okay, so that's his background, that's where he's coming from, and I think it's a very different direction for where the defense ministry will be going. So both in competence and in lack of corruption, it'll be very positive for Russia, unfortunately. Okay, Jason J. Smart, Moscow watchers consider Putin's cabinet shakeup as a signal that Putin's gaze has passed from Ukraine to a long, protracted war against the West. I think that's fair, but there's more to the story. So here's Al Jazeera, who's been very good at covering the war in Ukraine, where I don't know that I would trust them on some other issues perhaps, but here they've done a very good job. The goal is not peace. What's behind Putin's wartime Russian reshuffle? Okay, Vladimir Putin is set to relieve Sergei Shoigu, this was 2 days ago, Russia's defense minister of 12 years, of his post and appoint him Secretary of the Security Council, a position previously held by Patrushev since 2008. The move has prompted speculation among Kremlin watchers. Now, it's speculation, but listen to this. And what it means for Shoigu, Patrushev, and Andrei Belousov, the deputy prime minister and the economist set to become Russia's new defense minister. Shoigu is known as a Putin loyalist, no doubt about it. The pair having been photographed on many manly fishing expeditions through the depths of the Siberia together. Today, the winner on the battlefield is the one who is more open to innovation, more open to implementation as quickly as possible, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov told the press. It is natural that, and he's right about that, like the one that's more open to innovation is actually going to be more successful, all other things being equal. It is natural that at the current stage, the president decided that the defense ministry should be headed by a civilian. I don't think the civilian thing has anything to do with it, but if you want to win the battle and you need innovation, you need somebody other than who is already there, because the people that are already there are doing the things that are getting you what you're getting. So Newt Gingrich famously said, the system that you have is perfectly geared to give you what you're getting. That's what we had before. So a change in personnel is useful. The reshuffle is a signal that Russia has no plans to end its war. Shoigu will soon hold the deputy president role of Military Industrial Commission. He will also head the Federal Service for Military Technical Cooperation, which is responsible for military hardware dealings with other countries. So he's getting promoted, but it's promoted to over here and out of the way. With an economist taking over the defense ministry, and the old minister taking up a policy and advisory role, the technocrats are in the ascendant. The goal, though, is not peace, but a more efficient war. And I think that's exactly right. The goal is a more efficient war, and that's why they're doing what they're doing. Military expert Rob Lee wrote on X, formerly Twitter, "This doesn't appear to be designed as a demotion for Shoigu, who not only received an important position as Secretary of the Security Council, but also will retain oversight of domestic and foreign defense issues." So he's actually kind of kicked upstairs, but not day-to-day hands-on. The big loser in this shuffle appears to be Patrushev, who was also one of the key decision makers behind the invasion of Ukraine, also a very trusted loyalist to Putin. The Security Council is becoming a reservoir for Putin's former key officials who cannot be let go, but there's no place to house them. And I thought that was a really interesting insight. The desire to take Shoigu out of the game so as not to offend, but with maximum honors. Not because he's a friend, but because it's safer for Putin himself, just like it happened with Medvedev in January of 2020. Apparently, this is how the Security Council justifies its own name, to ensure security from former heavyweights who have nowhere else to settle and can't be thrown out. So if you're an authoritarian regime, you're trying to keep these people that have some potential to be a rival close to you and loyal to you, and that's what's happening here. Another article in The Guardian, this is Samantha de Benderin. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right. She is an analyst from Chatham House. Okay, this sheds a lot of light on it as well. When the Russian Defense Minister, Sergei Shoigu, was removed from his post and appointed to the head of the Security Council this week, there were two big questions on everyone's mind. What would his successor, Andrei Belousov, bring to the table, and what would happen to the former head of the Security Council, Nikolai Patrushev, reputed to be the second most powerful man in Russia and seen by many as a potential successor to Vladimir Putin? Say, threat. If he's that powerful, he's potentially dangerous. Patrushev, it seems, is being sidelined. Yesterday, the Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said Patrushev has been appointed to the grand position of presidential aide for shipbuilding. Barring any further surprise moves, this is a considerable downgrade in role. The presidential aide for shipbuilding? Okay. The question of what Shoigu's removal will mean is a bit trickier, but it may also be a case of Putin neutralizing an ally who has become too powerful. The Kremlin reshuffle was initially interpreted as a much-needed anti-corruption cleanup with Russia's security apparatus. Okay, it was corrupt and they needed to bring in somebody who wasn't. I get that. It was inefficient. They brought in somebody who wasn't. I get that. Russian political scientist Mikhail Sava insists that Shoigu's dismissal and a nomination of Belousov as the new defense minister have nothing to do with Shoigu's corruption, adding that in those circles everyone steals. This is about two things: taking back control of military spending and removing any threat to Putin's power. I think they're onto something here. Belousov is described as trustworthy bureaucrat among bureaucrats. Pro-war bloggers have welcomed him as a technocrat manager who will undertake a full audit of military spending and manage the finances and procurement vital to the army, but leave military issues to the general staff. He's an economist by training. Putin is showing the world that he's turning the whole of Russia into a war machine and that he's digging in for the long haul. Belousov does not come with a power base or a clan of loyal followers, and that's his strength. That's why he's been chosen. He owes his position to Putin, is an introvert who does not seek the limelight, and most importantly, does not threaten to build a parallel power base to Putin. Putin's terrified of a repeat of last June's events when Prigozhin led a mutinous rebellion. So Putin was afraid of changing the top brass in the defense ministry while the front was unstable, but now that they seem to be gaining and now he's back in power, been re-elected, now he's making his changes. All of this points to Putin's fear of the power struggles inside the Kremlin and the awareness that, as he builds his absolutist power, there are cracks that could widen unless he takes preventive measures. Now, what does preemptive measures mean? While Patrushev has been given the unenviable task of supervising the building of ships to replace those that have been destroyed by Ukrainian drones, his son has been promoted from agriculture minister to deputy prime minister in charge of agriculture. So he's downgrading Patrushev, but elevating his son some to keep him loyal, elevating his son. By placing the children of his close advisors in prominent positions, Putin shows he's playing for the long haul. He's making every effort to secure his future and that of his closest allies. He is signaling to them that they are safe for now, but trying the next generation, by tying the next generation of leaders to his political survival, he is clipping the wings of any potential threat. Sure, you're not going to turn against Putin if your son might be in jeopardy. Mark Galati, a historian specializing in Russia, explains that Shoigu is unlikely to inherit much power in his new post at the Security Council. Putin has effectively just put the whole military-industrial complex under presidential control, thereby boosting his personal power, taking over the whole of the war economy and the opportunities for corruption that go with it. In the short term, this makes Putin seem even more impregnable, although it's more dangerous in a whole different way. It also shows how wary he is of political challengers and leaves him very vulnerable should the war not go his way. Now, this last line is brilliant, and I think it's exactly what we need to understand. Those who think that Putin would be open to negotiating over a piece of eastern Ukraine and Crimea should bear this in mind when hoping for a quick negotiated end to the war. Putin needs war to survive. That's really remarkable. He either needs victory or he needs war to keep on going in order to survive. Okay, so that's all for these two stories. Third big story here, let's look at this. So this is Jake Bro, and it's Pete the Medic pleading for NAFO help.
NAFO and Help 99, please help us. Help them to raise money to help us. We are in the most important fight of modern times. I always call NAFO, I always refer to them as the 5th Emergency Services, because you have the fire, police, ambulance, military, and right behind all of those, you have the beautiful NAFO and Help 99. Please help us with victory. Please help them to help the armed forces of Ukraine. Medical evacuation vehicles, medical evacuation vehicles, medical evacuation vehicles. We are losing them all the time, all the time. If it's possible, small armored medical evacuation vehicles. But you know, you guys know me by now. I ain't fussy. God bless you. Do peremohe. Dziękuję, brate, siostre.
We're going to help these guys. So $500,000 is 25 trucks. I've already been assigned 18 different units. All 18 of these military units are going to get a truck. Some of them might even get 2 trucks. But I was talking to my contact at the 69th, his name is Alex, and I asked him, what could you guys buy for $100,000 in drone money? And he says it depends, but FPVs start at about $400 US. ISR drones like the Mavic 3T are about $5,000 each. For $100,000, they could purchase 20 Mavic thermals and over 200 FPV drones. So what I'm thinking is that we continue donating so that we can buy all these trucks, 25 of them, and then get a bunch of drones to put in those trucks that can then go to Ukraine. So if you're one of the 7,000...
So he put this out yesterday, and he was at 475 of 500,000. And again, the bar started at 40,000 and then went to 200 and then 300, 400, now $500,000. And then he put this appeal out, and I'm going to show you what happened. Okay, let him finish talking.
People who have donated, you don't have to donate again, please. Likewise, if you're retired or on disability or money is tight right now, please don't donate. Just give this video a like, leave me a nice comment. Helps this video in the algorithm. More people watching it means more people might donate. But if a couple thousand of you just kick in $5 or $10, we can supercharge this for another couple 100,000, get all the trucks, get all the drones, and...
Yeah, and that's what happened. So this went out yesterday, 16 hours ago. This morning I woke up and I said, okay, where are they? They're at 480 something at my last count. And then I woke up this morning and they were at 716,000. This is about 9 o'clock this morning, Eastern Standard Time. They were at 716,000 out of 800,000 as the goal. Like, that's absolutely amazing. So let's see, 5 hours later, we got to be inching up toward 800,000. So we're got to be getting close, right? So it's 789. We're within 11,000 of the whoa, he just moved it up to 900,000 as his goal. 789 thousand so far. And this morning I said, okay, 800,000. Think about that. That's 40 trucks on the battlefield at 2,000 or 20,000 a pop. But he's not doing it exactly that way. He's also, you know, providing drones and other things. But the equivalent, and I said that would be 10% of the trucks that NAFO has provided. But he's not doing it exactly that way. I hadn't seen Jake at this point. But yep, the bar is now at 900,000. And it's right now, as I'm talking, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Eastern Standard Time. So by the end of the day, he'll blow past that 800,000 and be well on his way toward 900,000. All right, that's all the news that I have. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the likes. I would appreciate it if you could give this a like as well to help promote this. Thank you for the shares, the subscribes, and thank you more than anything else for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.